There's a tow up here. There's an enemy tow up here.
I think we dug it down already.
Okay.
Enemy tow?
I dug it down earlier.
Fine. We're close enough, you'll miss.
They might have dug it back up there. I don't know. We better find out. I got my face in some dude's ass. Let's do it. I'm ready to die. Like inside.
Oh!
Yes!
Wow. If I were to ask any of my close buddies, a group of like 15 people, if they wanted to play some Battlefield 5, I would say a fourth of them own the game, and maybe 1/15 of them even has the game installed. That's how it is these days. My friends just don't play Battlefield. That's my objective observation and my very limited observation, but that's just how it is. In 2008, if I were to ask my friends if they had Battlefield 2 installed and ready to play, even though it's 3 years after Battlefield 2's release, I guarantee they would all have Battlefield 2 installed, because Battlefield 2 once had a lot of replayability, and also it once had a mod called Project Reality Battlefield 2. This mod brought, well, reality to Battlefield 2 by bringing in 9-man squads, I would say like larger maps and larger assortments of vehicles, more realistic vehicles and weapons and classes and such, and it made it to where it was a much more teamwork based game, much more milsim or realistic shooter-esque game, and that was what was really appealing about that mod in the first place. Now, Project Reality Battlefield 2 is the predecessor to a game called Squad. You guys have seen me play this before, but if you haven't, this game is a basically 2019 version of Project Reality Battlefield 2. It's got AKs, it's got M4s, it's got standard army uniforms, it's got standard Russian uniforms, it's got BTRs, strikers, everything you really want in a very, I would say, simplified experience of a milsim game. Now, this is interesting because a lot of milsim games are caught up with the idea that they have to be complicated. Arma 3, if you were to have to get into an experience like we have in our videos, it's almost like I'm false advertising to you when I make an Arma 3 video, because if we make, let's say, for example, an A10 video, first off, we have to get some A10 mods to increase the power of the GAU, because the main GAU gun isn't that powerful in the vanilla Arma 3. We have to get new faction mods. We're usually playing on a different map. We're usually having my guys on the ground wearing entirely modded sets of gear. So at the end of our modding adventure to set up for an operation, we have 30 mods set up just for a 2-hour, 3-hour operation. These mods bring in better systems like healing or jumping over items or rappelling from buildings or fast roping from helicopters, scope adjustment, weapon jamming, all this different stuff comes in with mods. And it's funny because when you guys see those videos and are new to PC gaming, a lot of you will comment, hey, how do I get to this mission in Arma 3? And the funny thing is, it's like, I feel so bad because it's hard to really get to our cool moments in Arma. Like, to have a really interesting moment in Arma 3 in 2019, you have to have the game super modded out. You also have to have basically a custom mission built for that exact night. Like, all of our missions, all of our operations are actually just built by me. So even if I'm shooting guys on the ground with an A10 gun run, those guys would either be auto-generated or manually placed by me. It's stupid. It's stupid amounts of complication to that game. You have to install like a TFAR system to be able to even talk to your friends in game with radios like the way that we do. It's just, oh my gosh, in 2019, that's way too much complication just to have a night of milsim ops. On Squad, I have never used a single mod in my videos. None of these clips are any mods whatsoever. This is the vanilla game. Squad still brings in replayability with the vanilla game, and I like that a lot because it's a smooth experience. It holds up with other games that have good gunplay in 2019. It very much holds up with those. It's got very smooth movement physics. You rarely ever have a glitch when it comes to, let's say, falling through a floor. And also, the game is still rather, I would say, forgiving to the dumb new player that plays the game, so that if you're a new player to the game, you can always join a squad and ask questions to your squad leader or the rest of your squad, and they will most likely answer those questions happily for you. Squad brings milsim, or realistic shooter gameplay, into a simplistic form, and that's why I really like it. It still has enough complications that if you're skilled at the game, you can use high-level strategies and tactics to win, but the new player can hop right in. And when people ask me, hey, what game should I get first when I'm interested in these realistic shooters, I always say Squad, because Squad is just the most simplistic milsim shooter out there, and if you're new to milsim games, you're not going to have a bad time on this game. It's going to give you some laughs. It's going to give you some really scary, hilarious moments where you're just screaming because you're about to die, and it's going to give you those amazing moments when you're rushing up a hill with a group of like 9 guys and they're all communicating about contacts that you see, and you just have that amazing teamwork feel moment where you just, oh yeah, the teamwork feels, yes. All of that is in Squad, in vanilla Squad. And what I like most about the game is just the overwhelming idea of, hey, I'm in a firefight. I mean, you've got the sound design working for you, the sound design of any rounds in the game, the cracks of a rifle, the explosions around you, the screaming of voices. He turned his engine off.
Smack him, Abby.
Watch that, Commander. Commander Gunner. Nice, good hit, good hit.
Done.
Watch for disembarks.
He's still up.
Watch that top gun. Watch the top gun.
Where you guys are at.
Pushing up, pushing up. Shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. Nice. One more, one more. We're getting sniped at from something else off to the southeast.
Once more, he's dead. Good shit.
Good shit.
Good job, boys. Heck yeah, that was sweet. Oh my gosh, the sound design is amazing. Let me just talk about the VoIP for a second. Voice over IP, it's the way that players can talk to one another in the game. It's when your voice gets transferred from your PC to the other player's PC and they hear your voice over the game. But there's something called local VoIP that oh my gosh, I love games that have local VoIP. Rust, for example, has local VoIP. And by the way, we have a Rust server if you'd like to check it out. It's in the description down below for details, but it's also on your screen as well. If you're really lazy, it's on the screen. Rust has local VoIP, and that means that when you run around, your voice is actually physically tagged and synced to your player model in game, so that when you're running around and talking, you actually are physically bringing your voice around with you when you're running around. It's not like Battlefield where you can be 300 meters from your squad mates and still talk to them like they're right beside you. It's a much more realistic approach because then you can kind of limit yourself. Even if you're in a big battle with 50 people, there's not going to be 50 people that are like right in one spot within 10 meters of you, so you're never really being exploded with over communication in this game because usually there's not that many people in one spot. So even if it's a 40 versus 40 game or 50 versus 50, doesn't even matter, you're never really overwhelmed with too many people in the voice chat. Arma 3 vanilla servers. Then if you need to contact the rest of your squad, then you can just hold the B button and activate your radio, and your radio isn't adjustable in any way. It doesn't work any special things. It's literally just an on and off button for the VoIP, but instead of talking to an area around 25 meters around you, you're talking to the rest of your 9-man squad because you don't need to talk to anybody else. Your squad is the only unit that you need to communicate to in a situation that you can't use your local VoIP. Now, I know a lot of games have that, and I can't just praise Squad for having that feature. It's not like they invented that. Like, even SCP Secret Laboratory has that. Oh my gosh, is this game amazing.
Now's the chance. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go.
Zulu 15 has entered the facility. All remaining personnel are advised to proceed with standard evacuation protocols until an MTF squad reaches.
Get it!
Alright, breaker. This is MTF coming back in. We're gonna come help you guys, so just meet us down in Heavy or in Extract and we'll get you out of there. Viper tuning out.
Yeah, I'm up here. I'm just making sure.
No, Matthew, we gotta get out of these hallways. He's coming.
Yeah, I know.
I heard him.
Holy shit!
Where are you, Drew?
Oh my god!
But when you mix a very clean and concise and just beautifully simple VoIP system, local VoIP system, with the amazing sound effects of this game, you get some of the best sounding in-game battles of any game out there. It's so close to being like one of the best sounding Warfare games ever, I've got to admit. Whoa!
Literally almost looking this way now.
Wait, what?
No.
Am I hurting someone?
I got sniped from behind.
Bayonet charge, boys!
Charge! You can't?
Oh, shooting up, down! The gunner's still turning. Gunner's still in. Holy crap! What the? Oh no!
I got 4.
No! But that's enough talk of the sound design. Let's talk about the visuals. This game also has, I would guess, the longest rendering of grass of any game. That is so important in a game like this because grass is huge. Like, if you're new to realistic shooters, I don't think a lot of people think about this when they review a realistic shooter game. But grass distance is huge because in real life, when you're like, I airsoft a lot, so I have no military experience, but I do airsoft a lot. If somebody is laying in a grass field 150 meters away, you're not going to see them. The unfortunate thing is, in Arma, for example, if somebody's laying in a grass field 150 meters away, they are easier to see than if they were 15 meters away. Why is that? Well, because the grass has a render distance. It only renders out to 30 meters, and then the terrain becomes this very simplified terrain, not just without grass, but it also actually changes textures to a extremely flat texture that looks like a satellite image from Google Earth as it stretches out to 150 meters out. So you have this terrain that looks like it's like a 1 pixel per square 10 feet maybe. And then you just have this random super detailed soldier that's laying in this field of super simple textures, and it's very, very easy to see him at a distance. In Squad, it's not like that. It's not satellite images that make up the maps. It's actual, I would guess, hand-tailored texturing of the ground and such. And also the grass reaches out to, I would say, a good 200 meters. And yeah, it does get a little bit thinner over distance, but there's also a decent amount of lighting in the game that's pretty realistic, and the soldiers are all wearing usually very effective camouflage, so it's a much more difficult game when you're trying to scout out somebody that's laying in a field in the distance. Also, this game, I believe, runs on Unreal Engine, and oh my gosh, does it look better than any other Unreal Engine game that has come out like ever. This game does not look like an Unreal Engine game. It has so many better, I would say, texturing and shading to every object in the game. The places in this game never look unrealistic, and this game doesn't actually have the best graphical power of games that I've seen, like Metro, for example, but I still feel as if this game portrays realistic locations the best. The locations are lit perfectly. There's never just any things that stand out to me as, wow, that doesn't look like it fits here. And also the player models also look good. If you look at the player models close up, they're very, very realistic. They have very realistic kits with very basic infantry rifleman roles, light anti-tank roles, support rifle roles. The guns also look amazing in this game, and when you just watch the reload animations, they are beautifully done. The mag doesn't just disappear when it goes out of your point of view because you can free look down and actually watch your mag like fall to the ground. It's pretty neat. When you're firing the guns as well, you have this screen shake, you have this amazing muzzle blast that's very realistic depending on which rifle you're shooting, and there's also like muzzle kind of smoke and dust that kind of appears out of the muzzle whenever you fire. It's just, I don't know, I can't explain any more detailed than just you watching this footage and seeing every frame is 1,000 words to you right now. So I mean, I don't even know why I'm explaining. Just like watch these clips, listen to the soundscape and the visuals as well, working together to bring a very realistic and simple combat experience. There's just something about this game that just screams to me that there needs to be more games like this. There needs to be more combat games that are oriented around actually immersing the player rather than just like creating this very, very outdated gunplay experience. And this game is very close to Tarkov in terms of immersion, but I would say this game is even more immersive than Tarkov in some points, because Tarkov can be a little bit more of a I would say game where it's not as realistic feeling. It still feels immersive and the graphics are realistic and you still feel immersed as the player in the game, but it's not as realistic of a setting to really bring you in. This can literally just plop you down as a US soldier in a random fight in the middle of the Middle East, and you don't really know where you are or what you're doing, but you know that you're part of a squad, you're the US faction, and you need to kill some like Taliban soldiers in a city in the middle of nowhere. The next piece of the puzzle here that makes me really enjoy this game is the fact that it's still based on privatized servers. Now, this is a little bit of a dangerous practice if there's no official servers to keep the game running whenever the community is a little bit dead, but the community hasn't died yet. There's still a healthy player base. You can still hop on and see that there's like at least 15 to 20-ish usually full servers to go and play on. And what's nice about these servers is they bring me back to the days when I used to play on Battlefield 2 Project Reality, or when I used to play Arma 2, or when I'm trying to think of other games like PlanetSide, when every night you hopped onto the same server. You never really went outside of your server unless you had to, but if you wanted to hop on and play some, let's say, Arma 2, you would hop onto that same server every night and you would recognize the people that were in there that you've played with for the past 2 weeks or so. They hop on at every night too. They hop on when you hop on, your schedules kind of align together, and it's a very, very effective way of making friends, is that you see each other again and again and again when you enter that server every time you play the game. And that's where Battlefield, in my opinion, has just entirely lost its appeal for me. When Battlefield 5 is just now announcing, hey guys, congrats, a year after release, we're gonna finally have privatized servers. Oh my gosh, you just killed your game. The lack of privatized servers in Battlefield just means that you're never going to be playing with anybody that you know. You're going to be always with new people. You're never going to build a relationship in that game unless you really, really are trying to force somebody into your friends list on Origin. It's just not going to happen. Also, with the lack of local VoIP and just the communication system in Battlefield 5, I don't know if it's squads of 5 or 4, but you're only limited to be able to talk vocally to your squad in Battlefield, so you can never talk to a random player on your team that you just happen to walk up to and fight with for like 5 minutes. It doesn't really matter. If you fight with that player for 5 minutes, if he's not in your squad, well, good luck. You're never going to be friends with him because you can't talk to him. You literally just can't talk to him because he's in a different squad. It makes no sense, because when I play squad, it's obvious that players do want to talk to each other. It just takes an environment that's easy to communicate in for players to want to talk to each other. Halo 2, you could talk to your whole 8-man team, and that was a blast. Like when you were playing Halo 2 and you could just talk to the whole team, that was sick. That was super cool and super ahead of its time. And I don't know why modern shooters have limited the talking now, and especially with the introduction of things like Discord and Skype and things like that. For sure, people are going to start going into their own parties, but when I play squad, all of our friends mute in Discord and we go into squad, because in squad it's almost nearly required that you talk. Your teammates are expecting you. They're depending on you to be a communicating soldier on the team. And trust me when I say this, that every fight in this game is improved by the fact that your soldiers around you are talking. There might be that one group of annoying guys every now and then that you just oh man, they're so bad, you just gotta leave the squad.
That's what I'm saying, he's the YouTuber, dude.
What? I don't really subscribe to people
Never. Like, I just watch their videos, but I never subscribe or like.
Bang, build a tow. So you should sort of build a tow.
Fucking top notch me, man. Top notch.
What are you? Hey, Drewski. So here's the thing, right? God. Like, you're a cool guy, but I saw your carry landing video in Arma, and your carry landing was fucking garbage. Like, this is not how you land a plane on the carrier, okay? Like, you're way too fast, way too flat. It was a shitty fucking landing.
Hey man, we're playing squad. Can you shut up? We're playing squad. We are playing a different game. Let's play the game, please. Let's not talk about my videos.
Hold on. Imagine trying to play a game and everybody just talks about your fucking YouTube channel all the time.
But 95% of other times, I guarantee you will have more fun playing this game simply because of the local VoIP being in this game.
On that sniper. Sniper down.
What are you doing, silly goose? Come here. Come here. Come back.
March north. Oh, it's Daddy.
Silly goose. Oh, he's on the gun now.
Get out of there, Drew.
No, it's fine.
Hey, drop an ammo bag. Someone drop an ammo bag.
Oh my fuck, I can't shoot through the fucking window, I'm mad.
Anybody got that? And I think that's really the downfall of the recent Battlefield titles, is that you're just playing with a random group of people, you don't know anything about your team, you can't coordinate with other squad leaders like you could in Battlefield 2. It's not as good of a system anymore for teamwork. It's a lot more casual of a player base, so they just want to go in and shoot people, and the game has fully answered the casual player base's call, saying that I want to be solo in a huge team of people and just do what I want instead of what my squad leader wants me to do. And that's while squad has gone in the absolute different direction and really gone into a teamwork oriented gameplay setup, and I really do appreciate that. Because when I go and join squad for a match, I really do get that late night hangout feel where everybody's pretty comfortable with each other, and if there's a new person on, then you say hi to them, you greet them, and you work with them for the rest of the game. And usually it's a healthy environment because you have a group of regulars who play together, and then you also have groups of new people who come in, and then they join the regulars, and they might eventually become a regular on that server as well if they like the server enough. So, too long didn't read. If you watched this whole video and wanted to know why I made it, I guess what my reasoning, what my overall theme and message for this video is that if you're new to these military realistic shooter games, I would most definitely suggest grabbing Squad first. Tarkov is a great game, and I play a lot of Tarkov, and people would probably ask why not Tarkov, and Tarkov is a little bit too complicated for a brand new PC gamer player. I think Squad is a perfect balance of having one of the best, I would say, combat scenario simulators, as well as being a very simple game to hop into and play. Sometimes you have bad rounds, sometimes you have good rounds, but overall, the good never outweighs the bad in these rounds, and you always have really fun moments in this game, and I definitely suggest playing it.